Hey, it's Julie, and this is how I cover up redness and rosacea using makeup. First, I get my hair out of the way because that is a giant pain in the butt. I've got a lot of hair. I just want to point out that I am in no way a professional at makeup or covering rosacea or anything like that. This is just how I do it. I also always cover up my clothing with an extra shirt because there is a lot of foundation and powder involved. Taking off my glasses, of course. I start off with a clean face. I washed with Eucerin DermatoClean cleansing lotion. That's what I always use. I find consistency is very important with rosacea. And then I followed up with La Roche-Posay Rosaliac UV Legere moisturizing lotion. I don't have a lot of tools or anything like that for applying makeup. I have a big old blush brush. I have an eyeshadow brush that actually came with my eyeshadow, and I have an eyebrow brush. And that's it. That's all that I use in terms of brushes for my entire face. I know that's wrong, and probably a lot of people are kind of twitching right now, but that's what I use. I also use these little foam wedges. That's what I use to put actual like liquid foundation on. I get giant bags of them at the dollar store so that I can throw them out as soon as I've used them. I keep everything very, very clean, and that's it. Okay, so I start off with a primer. That one's by Shiseido. I just have a little container of it that I was given as a sample. To test it out from the store, I will be going to buy the full-size package, but I'm waiting for it to go on sale. So I'm really, really grateful that they gave me the sample size for this video. It is absolutely wonderful. You put on a tiny little bit over your entire face, and you smooth it on with clean fingers, and your skin feels like absolute satin. It feels wonderful. And the goal of using this is to have your makeup actually float over top of your face. It's like creating a barrier between your moisturizer and the makeup itself so that your makeup doesn't have the chance to actually sink into your pores or cause irritation. As you can see, the rosacea is flaring a little bit at the moment. It's not actually bad, it's just that I just finished showering before recording this video, and so that's about as red as it gets, just simply because I'm touching my face and I just finished being in the shower. I'm all squeaky clean. Everything should be done very, very gently when you're applying it to a face with rosacea. Never push down. Push down as little as you can on your face, so just smooth things over top of the skin. It's better to go over something twice than to actually rub a product against the skin. Okay, and then this is my Shiseido foundation. It's in the light color. There is also an ultralight. I think I should have gone for that one. This one is slightly too dark, but I do use two foundations, so it doesn't really matter to me much. I will also be buying the full size of that once it goes on sale. This I use exclusively on the rosacea reddened part of my skin because it's extremely thick. The coverage is awesome, but I don't want that over my entire face, particularly because my face is extremely dry, and that product doesn't really react well with dry skin. It doesn't react badly, but it just doesn't look like natural skin over time. It starts to look a little bit slimy over my nose and forehead, and then it just looks kind of dusty over my cheeks. So I try to just leave it over my cheeks, and then I use another foundation for my entire face. As you can see, I'm not wiping. I'm not using the sponge to wipe the product over my face. You just do little stippling motions, just like dab, 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 dab. And just keep doing that until it's very, very blended. I found that's the absolute best way to do that. And when I received some advising in cosmetics before a public performance for my book, I was told that that's exactly the way to do it, so I felt kind of proud of myself being on the right track there. And you just add a little bit at a time. It's better to use a little bit and add than to just clump on big thick layers of the stuff, because it does have massive coverage, as I said. And you just keep blending and blending and blending. As you can see, my skills in filming myself leave a lot to be desired. I'm still very, very new, and I had a mirror next to my tablet, which I was using for filming, and that probably was not the best position for that, and that's the best I could do for lighting. So over time, if I do create more videos, I will actually work on the technology that I'm using and learn the angles a little bit better as my face, you know, mysteriously disappears off the side of the screen there. Anyway, so the point of this right now is just I'm just blending it in until it doesn't have streaky marks or anything like that. And I just went and washed my hands. That's where the disappearing went. This is the second foundation that I use. It's a CoverGirl product. It's called Clean Sensitive Skin. It's Ivory number 205. It's just a drugstore product. I personally really like it because it sits nicely on the skin. That's a fresh foam wedge. I never reuse anything just because my skin is so absolutely reactive. And you just need a little bit of this liquid and just dab it right on top of the Shiseido product and then over the rest of the face so that there is a more even color. That's the lightest color that this product comes in, and that is a lot closer to my ghostly pale natural skin tone. So I just dab a little bit of that all over my face. It's kind of a messy job, and then I just blend it all in with the sponge as I did before. And even though this one's a lot more liquid than the other one, I still just use that same little stippling motion, just dab, 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 dab. And a lot of people with rosacea do find that layering foundation is the key to full coverage. You can use makeup that's meant for covering tattoos or for drama stage productions and things like that. It's a lot thicker, but I also find that it makes my skin react a lot more. They're kind of meaner products for the skin. So I'd rather go for these products that are kind of a slightly higher quality in terms of everyday use, and they're meant for sensitive skin as opposed to just flat out coverage. When I'm done this, you can still see a hint of where the color of the rosacea is, but I actually, as you'll see later on, I actually work that into the look of my face. So I just try to make it look like a little bit of rosy kiss to my cheeks to make it look like it's actually supposed to be there. So I actually try to make the rosacea work with the final look of my face, but the coverage with these two products together is pretty amazing. I find blending this product down into my neck and not just leaving it on my face helps to give a more even look. This does actually match my neck pretty closely, but it doesn't hurt to just blend them together just to make sure that there isn't a line. And as you can see on my cheeks, the redness it's pretty much gone. I really wish that the lighting could show you it a little bit better because it does look kind of weird and shiny and streaky. It's not shiny and streaky. That's actually a pretty smooth job. I'm just going to go wash my hands, and I'm back. Okay, so this would be the powder that I use. It's from Quo. It's called Mosaic Perfecting Powder. And it's a number of different setting powders that are all mixed into one. I just sort of smudge them around with my giant blush brush and brush it on my entire face and neck. This just gives it a more finished look so that it doesn't have that flat foundation look to it. As I said, I am absolutely not a professional in this. This just really works for me, and I actually really like the job that I do on my makeup. As you'll see with a lot of the products, they are quite used. I don't change my colors around too much. I do every now and again switch a few little things out, but I do stick to the same colors over and over, so I do go through a lot of product over time. And just with the liquid foundation, I go over my neck with the powder as well. And then I use that exact brush for the blush that I use. and that is from Carol Baker Visage. It's called Pink Cashmere, and the reason that I chose this is the exact color of the rosacea part of my skin. So what I try to do with that is I use a very, very small amount of it, and I dust it over my cheeks in the exact areas that I have rosacea. And what that does is it gives a little bit of pinkness, because like my skin looks all the same color right now, which is a little bit deathly. So I put that directly over the part that where I have rosacea, and that evens out all of the little gaps in color, because rosacea is not even, it's that sort of blotchy look. So that evens it all out. So it actually makes it look as though I have pinkness naturally in my cheeks that is supposed to be there, as opposed to a skin disorder that I'm deliberately covering up right now. So I go over the very tops of my cheeks, which is where the darkest color of the rosacea is, and then up a little bit close to my temples. And then I dust over my entire face with an extremely light amount of it, just to make it look like, just to blend in the color with everything else. I don't do any contouring, I don't do anything fancy. It's just a matter of using a bit of the blush to color in the rosacea color that's just peeking through just slightly through the foundation. It's an extremely natural look as long as you're very light-handed with it. It's better to go with too little blush than too much, otherwise you just look painted. And it just doesn't matter what I do with the camera angle or the lights, it just never really shows the color to be all that true. So next I move on to, that's the coverage for the skin. So if that's what you were watching this video for, there you have it. But I will complete my face and the look to show what I do to continue to take attention away from the redness as well, and to make other features that I like pop from my face. So that's the first eyeshadow. It's from Rimmel London. It's called Glam Ice, number 100. It's a very, very white shade with a little touch of sparkle to it. I don't like too much sparkle because I am starting to get fine lines, and sparkle seems to accentuate those. So that's not really something I'm looking for. But I fill in the entire area from my eyelashes all the way up to my eyebrow to give kind of a bit of a bright look. And some always falls below my lashes as well, so I always just sort of blend that in a little bit for a bit of a brighter look underneath as well, because who needs circles, right? And I've heard a lot of people say that you should really avoid pink makeup when you have rosacea. Personally, I embrace pink makeup. I find that it makes it look as though it's supposed to be there if you use it. I wouldn't use a whole ton of it, but I do use a little bit of pink on my cheeks. And then you'll see that the eyeshadows that I'm about to use, which are in the CoverGirl Vivid Green Eyes palette, I use colors number 2 and 3. And they are, the first one that I use is a light pink, and then I use a pinky brown, or a pinky taupe as well. So I just try to make it look like I've applied the pink to my face. I'm embracing the pink in my face, and that way it looks like it's supposed to be there, as though instead of looking like it's covered up. I'm sure other people completely disagree. Maybe that just has to do with my specific skin tone or my specific eye color, but that really works for me. I'm using this color, the number 2 color on the palette is a very, very, very pale pink. It's lighter than baby pink. It's barely there pink. It's just slightly more pink than the white that I've applied on my entire lid, or the entire area. This is just going on the eyelid itself. And then I take color number 3, and I just put that on the outer edge, just at the crease of my eye. That just adds a little bit of depth, makes it look a little bit more fancy. And then I just sort of smudge it around until it stops looking so painted. I'm just trying not to go for a paint by number look. I'll be washing all of those brushes after use. I wash everything or dispose of everything after every use. I find that's very, very important for keeping skin healthy when you've got redness and rosacea. Then I use an eyeliner. This one is from Annabelle. It's called Lapis, the color. It's number 108. It's a very bright blue. And all I do, I just line the entire upper lid lash, the entire upper lash line and the entire lower lash line. I don't do anything creative. I don't do any cattails or Egyptian eyes or anything like that. I just basically try not to make a mess. And I know a lot of people put their eyeliner on before their eyeshadow. In fact, some people put it on before their foundation. I don't. I put it on last. I like a dramatic line. I like a dramatic color with a dramatic line. I don't use black or anything like that. That just looks Halloween-y on me. But I do actually like the color and I like the defined look. Smoky eye, I can't seem to master. It just looks smudgy on me. So this is what works for me. I'm sure you might have something better that works for you, but this video is just what works for me for covering up rosacea and for making my face look natural with the pink that's actually in it. And none of these products, other than the foundations, I spend on my foundations. I wait until they go on sale, but that's basically, those are the most expensive products that I use. Everything else is regular drugstore products. I get the ones that I really like or the ones that are on sale. As you can see, a lot of them are not huge names. They're just your regular everyday products. My mascara, for example, it's Essence brand. It's Get Big Lashes Triple Black. I think it was something like $1.99 or $2.99. I throw out mascaras like crazy. I'm not a fan of tossing things all the time, but when it comes to makeup, especially things that are going on my eyes, I would rather not risk infection or adding a whole pile of bacteria. I already have a lot of reactions to skin products and makeup products, so I'll use mascara for no longer than 1 month, and then I will toss it. So I use the cheapest one out there because I don't find on my eyes it makes a tremendous difference between the best mascara out there or the one that's $2.99, but it does make a big difference to my wallet, so that's why I make this choice. And I apply mascara to both top and bottom lashes, as you saw. And then I take my eyebrow brush and I just go over my eyebrows really quickly. I have thick eyebrows, so that makes them neater, but it also gets because there are so many foundations and powders and things that have gone on, it actually redefines them and it takes out a lot of the product that was sort of pushed over top of them so that the hairs don't look like they have foundation in them, which reveals that you're wearing a whole lot of foundation. Then because I use a lip stain instead of a lipstick, it's very important to have very, very clean lips. So I'm just going over my lips to make sure that there isn't any foundation or powder or anything on there. I have previously, as I said, washed my face, but I'm just making sure that none of the cosmetics have gotten on there throughout the application process. And the lip stain that I use is from CoverGirl. It doesn't have a colored name that I could find. It's just color 554. And it has a doe foot applicator. And I just put that on my mouth and wait for it to dry. It takes under a minute. I think it says on the package that it can take up to 2 minutes or something. I find that it's maybe 30 seconds to a minute. I guess it depends on how much you put on. I put a very thin layer because it starts to look strange on me if I put too much on. It just doesn't set properly. And that's my entire face. Well, I'm just drying my lips now. So those are all of the products that I put on my face. I think it gives excellent coverage, and what it doesn't cover, it blends in and makes it look deliberate. I have very long, curly, thick hair, so I tend to try to do something either big and beachy, or today it is unbelievably hot out, so I'm just going to do a braid that starts off like a kind of crooked French braid and then it just goes over to the side. It just keeps my hair off my face and it keeps it off my back and everything too. It keeps me cool. Keeping your hair off your face is very important to keeping rosacea healthy, keeping the rosacea away, actually, keeping your skin healthy. But it also helps to keep the heat down, and heat is not your friend when you have rosacea. So I do a lot of braids. I put my hair up in ponytails, in buns, and things like that, just to keep things cool and to keep things off my skin. And okay, I cut out the middle of that so you don't have to watch me struggling with my hair for 5 minutes. And there we have it. It's a pretty simple style. It's actually relatively quick. My hair likes to stick to itself when it's wet, so it does take a little bit longer, but when it's dry, it can be done in like 2 minutes or something like that. That's an extremely simple style. Okay, and then I can, with all of the makeup off and everything like that, I can take the smock shirt off, and look at that, I'm in my party dress. It'll save you from having to watch me put on every single little bit of jewelry, but, you know, adding a little bit of sparkle does make you feel pretty. But thank you very much for sticking around and watching how I cover up rosacea and how I make it look as though I have much clearer skin. It has come a long way since I started the red light therapy. That's been extremely helpful. All of the bumps are gone, as you can see. All I'm covering now is a bit of redness. It's really not that dramatic, but the same technique worked for when I had both subtypes 1 and 2, so I had the redness and the bumps.